The Phase 2 ladder study showed the port delivery system for ranibizumab was worthy of a Phase 3 trial.
But was the device able to deliver a continuous dose of therapy that was similar to what you'd find in monthly injection patients?
I'm Greg Notstein, that's Scott Kriswanis, and this is coverage of the ASRS 2020 meeting on New Retina Radio from Retina Today and Bryn Mawr Communications. Dr. Dilsher Dhoot answers questions about the Phase 2 ladder study, which evaluated the PDS in patients with wet AMD.
Dr. Dhoot reviews the pharmacokinetic data that researchers used to determine the rate of drug release and therapeutic benefit, and previews the Phase 3 trial.
Stick here for the interview.
The Phase 2 ladder study found that the port delivery system with ranibizumab, or PDS, designed to continuously deliver ranibizumab to patients with wet AMD was safe, and that the pharmacokinetic profile of patients at 6 months was approximately the same whether they had the PDS or underwent monthly injections.
It also found that patients who had the PDS refilled had consistent serum levels, suggesting that the device's efficacy was not limited to single dose.
That's a lot to digest.
Yes, it is, and we've asked Dr. Dilsher Dhoot to break it down for us. Dr. Dhoot is a retina surgeon with California Retina Consultants in Santa Barbara. Dr. Dhoot, thank you for speaking with us today.
Hey, Scott and Greg. Thanks for the invitation. It's truly a pleasure.
So here's what we know. The Phase 2 ladder study randomly assigned patients to one of 3 dosing groups with a PDS or 2 monthly ranibizumab injections. Patients were evaluated for pharmacokinetic details. Tell us why that's so important.
So, Scott, this is really important. The port delivery system is truly an innovative device. And as physicians, we're interested to know, is this device overdosing our patients, underdosing our patients, or is there consistent PK profile? And so the goal of this analysis was to look at that. And it was based on the serum PK profile. And it was appropriate to look at the serum PK profile because the implant release is really the rate limiting step. The implant was designed to release at 100 days of a half-life. And we know that the elimination of ranibizumab from the vitreous is 7 days and the serum is really 2 hours. And so you can think of it as a funnel. And so no matter how wide the funnel, really the implant is what is limiting the PK overall.
What did the researchers find?
So in this trial, they looked at the PK profile for the PDS device in the 3 doses you mentioned, and also for intravitreal ranibizumab. But there were predefined time points that were measured. Everyone's serum was collected at randomization. For the ranibizumab monthly arm, patients were also sampled at months 1, 3, 9 in the final study visit. In the PDS arms, there were more samples taken, at 1 hour following implant insertion, 1, 7, and 14 days, and every month thereafter, samples were collected. And then also 1 and 7 days after each refill. So a lot of data to look at. The gist of what was found was that, in the 100 milligram per milliliter PDS arm, there was consistent dose release of the ranibizumab. Even up until 16 months, there was detectable ranibizumab in the serum.
How did that compare with monthly ranibizumab injections?
Very good question. So monthly ranibizumab was detected, and the samples were taken at the trough. And so monthly ranibizumab, the trough was 82.9 picograms per milliliter. And if you look at the 100 milligram per milliliter PDS arm, at 6 months, the serum concentration was 296 picograms per milliliter. And so this compared very favorably, actually squarely toward the center of the predictable monthly ranibizumab concentrations.
Did any single PDS arm show a better PK profile than the others?
Actually, so there were 3 different PDS doses. There was a low dose 10 milligram, intermediate dose 40 milligram, and a high dose 100 milligram. And it was a dose-dependent response that we saw when we looked at the PK profiles. And so the 100 milligram dose had the highest levels of concentration of ranibizumab in the serum.
And what happened after the PDS was refilled?
That's a great question. As physicians, we want to know if we refill this a first or second time or third time, is the implant going to release at a continuous rate that's consistent and predictable? And it turns out that it was in fact continuous and predictable. We saw that the serum concentrations of ranibizumab were consistent after first refill and second refill over the time course that was evaluated.
That is all really encouraging news. What should we expect in phase 3?
This phase 3 structure, again, we're using ranibizumab dosed at monthly intervals as the control. Of course, we selected the PDS 100 milligram per milliliter dosing. Patients were dosed initially and then every 6 months thereafter. Toward the end of the study, patients are enrolled at 96 weeks into the portal extension study. The primary endpoint is the change in best corrected visual acuity score from baseline averaged over weeks 36 and 40.
Dr. Dhoot, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Scott and Greg, thanks for having me, and I hope to see you guys soon, hopefully in person at one of the upcoming congresses.
And that's it for this episode of New Retina Radio. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And please review New Retina Radio on Apple Podcasts. It really helps your colleagues find what we're up to.
Until next time.